The economic recovery is finally gaining some traction after a historic recession, but unrest in Libya and other oil-producing countries has resulted in soaring gas prices. So the question now is, of course, whether those price hikes will derail in any way the recovery, and when will we see prices go down? For those answers, we turn to CBS News business and economics correspondent Rebecca Jarvis. Good morning again.
Hey, Erica.
First, let's look at the price of gas, because so many people are feeling this really hit them in the wallet. What is the latest average across the country?
Yeah, right now the national average is $3.79. It's up about 11 cents in just a week's time. And if you look at this year, what we have seen is prices go up 20% as far as energy goes. However, even $3.79 feeling like a high price point, it's still less than what we've paid at the very peak of oil prices and gasoline prices, which was back in the summer of 2008 when we were paying $4.11 a gallon.
No one wants to go back there.
People do not want to go back there, but there's a chance we could.
Right. People are understandably concerned about this too, because gas actually accounts for a really large percentage of the average family's budget. 15%, is it really that high?
Yeah, it is that high, and in fact it can be even higher when you have a smaller household budget. And this is where consumers really can feel the pinch, because when prices start to go up, it actually can account for a bigger portion of the budget. And in particular, if you're on the lower income side of things, then as that price point goes up, you really feel it in your wallet. And also for multiple reasons, because prices at the pump end up translating to higher prices elsewhere too.
Sure, because it costs more in the gas to ship those goods places.
Right, everything from your clothes to your food.
So then we all start to cut back. Have you already seen evidence in the economy of Americans starting to cut back in other areas?
It's really interesting, because people have, in some respects, cut back, but mostly it's on gasoline at this point. MasterCard does this survey every single week that looks at our consumption and our spending on gasoline, and for the last 5 weeks straight, Americans have consumed less gasoline each week, and that's as prices have increased.
So then, could this actually end up, if we want to try to find the silver lining here, if we're buying less gas, then the supply is going down? Is there any chance that then the prices could go down? Yeah,
well, certainly as supplies continue to remain constant, which is what we're basically seeing.
Demand's going down, by the way.
So demand is going down right here, and usually what you see is when demand comes down, then all of a sudden you do see prices start to climb. But what we're seeing right now is the impact of Libya and the unrest overseas in the Middle East and in Africa, which, by the way, are not big places that we get a lot of our oil from, but they are hotbeds for geopolitics. And anytime you see this kind of disarray taking place in the Middle East, I've been on the New York Mercantile Exchange floor where oil is traded in this country for multiple days. And what you see there is that anytime any headline crosses that talks about disruptions in the Middle East, unrest there, you tend to see prices spike. And so what a lot of economists are saying is, if that stops, if that is to slow down, then all of a sudden maybe we're going to see prices come down a little bit.
But until it does slow down, don't expect it.
Until it does. And even though our habits are changing here, that's what's so interesting, because we have changed our habits. We've bought more fuel-efficient cars, but it hasn't necessarily translated to a lower price at the pump at this point.
Not the only factor in there in the pricing. Rebecca, thanks.
Thanks.